Hello, my name is Rachel, and today we're talking task number 17 for the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge, and these are business books. Now, I feel like it's really open to interpretation what counts as a business book, but literally when you Google business book recommendations, you get a lot of self-help, self-improvement books relating to being like more productive. So that's basically what I'm looking for in this video. And I found several that sounded interesting, so let's just jump on in and see what we can find. So first up is 4-Hour Workweek. This is by Timothy Ferriss with 2 R's and 2 S's, which I like. I'm just going to add some extra letters to my name. I like that. I don't know anything really about this, but I do know that I'm on board for a 4-hour work week. I mean, come on. The tagline says, escape the 9-to-5, live anywhere, and join the new rich. Yes, please. That's all I have to say. I would love to have a less hectic work week. So this sounds very, very, very appealing to me. Next up is Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. And being someone who likes to talk about books and sort of persuade people, influence people's opinions about books. This sounds very interesting to me. Working with students, I have tons of kids who swear they hate reading, so I'm always looking for ways to be more thorough in my influence, if that makes sense. To just present a front of, I enjoy reading, here's how I go about finding books that I like, and really just living by example for my students to try to encourage them to read. So this sounds like it could work to help me maybe build more of an influence in the way I present reading to people, to adults and children. So yeah, it could be a pick. And this is by Robert Cialdini. Ooh, I might have said that wrong. Next up is Thinking Fast and Slow. This is by Daniel Kahneman, and I've seen this cover so many times. It's won several literary awards, so that's mostly why it made it on this list. I think this is just talking about the two different ways that we can think, obviously. One being fast, like really decisive, intuitive responses, and the other being more slow and thought out and more planned out. So it sounds like an interesting one, and like I said, I've seen the cover several times, so maybe I will enjoy it as well. Next up is one that I've had on my radar for a while and have not managed to read, and that is Quiet, the Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. And I feel like this is very self-explanatory as to what this is probably about. I think now more than ever this would be an interesting topic to read about in a world where so many people have opinions, and using that voice is important to talk about what that looks like if you're an introvert. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think this sounds really interesting. I think that I can be an introvert sometimes, but I do not have a problem with talking. Being an educator, I can talk for days. But in more of like a social setting, maybe I'm more of an introvert. I'm not as dominant in the conversation. So I feel like I could see both sides of this, so I definitely am interested in this one. Next up is Flow, the Psychology of Optimal Experience. I'm not going to be able to say this name correctly. It's Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Csikszentmihalyi? I butchered that. I am super sorry about that, but this book looks super, super interesting. I actually believe that I have this on my shelf downstairs if I have not lent it out already. And I actually have a friend who probably would like to team read this with me, so this is definitely an option. I do like the idea of the optimal work experience, so this could be an interesting read. Next up is the Anti-9-to-5 Guide, Practical Career Advice for Women Who Think Outside the Cube, and this is by Michelle Goodman, and it just sounds very interesting. Unless I leave education, I feel like I'm not going to get out of it, but it is fun to read about and explore in explore other options within books. Next up is another one I've seen all over. I've seen this cover so many times, and this is The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business. And this is by Charles Duhigg. And I've heard good things about this. I think this has also won several awards, and this is not a super long book, and I believe I've seen it on audiobook at the library that you can download on your phone. So this could be a good one to listen to, maybe just in the car on the way to work. So yeah, it's definitely an option. Next is Rules for Renegades, 10 Secrets to Getting What You Want from a Buddhist monk, geisha, trainee, entrepreneur, self-made millionaire. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. It sounds very interesting. Renegades caught me. There's a lot of buzzwords going on in this title, so I'm definitely interested. I mean, it can't hurt, right, to get some advice from this very interesting person. And this is by Christine Comaford Lynch, so it's definitely on the list. Next up is Grace, Not Perfection, Embracing Simplicity, Celebrating Joy. This is by Emily Lay, and I believe she's the creator for the Simplified Planner, so I think this could be really interesting. I'm really into all the different planner things, and clearly she kind of built this herself. I know this is going to have some like Christian leaning, so just be aware of that. But yeah, I love the cover. It's beautiful. It looks a lot like her planner aesthetic, and I think this could be a really interesting and fun read. And again, I don't think this would be too long. I bet this would be a really good audiobook as well. Next is the one that I'm probably going to read just because it sounds fantastic, and that is Rebel Bookseller, How to Improvise Your Own Indie Store and Beat Back the Chains. I mean, my dream, I don't know if it's that secret, is to open my own bookstore and be like a little indie bookstore. So this is just right in my wheelhouse. So this is probably the one that I will end up reading. Next up is The Weekend Effect, The Life-Changing Benefits of Taking Time Off and Challenging the Cult of Overwork by Katrina Onstad. I am very much ready for something like this because I do think that especially in the US, we tend to value overworking over everything else. Even if it's at the expense of your health, your mental health, and your family, whatever. Like, you need to work as much as possible. And I don't think that is healthy. I am, excited and happy to go in and do my part to work hard, but I do think we need to focus more on outside of work than just on work. So I'm interested in, again, kind of alternate 9-to-5s and the idea of overworking, if that makes sense. And next up is one that lines up exactly with that. That's The Overworked American, The Unexpected Discipline of Leisure by Juliet B. Schor. And again, for the same reasons, I think that work becomes such a focus, and I don't know if that is the healthiest way to live. I mean, there's nothing wrong with working hard and having drive at work, but I think we need to be able to turn it off and experience life outside of work as well, and just as successfully. Next up is Girl Code, Unlocking the Secrets to Success, Sanity, and Happiness for the Female Entrepreneur. This is by Kara Alwell-Leba, and I think this could be a really interesting book to include in my high school library as well. I like the girl power vibe from it, and I like the combination of success and sanity and happiness in the title. I think this could be a really interesting one. And like I said, I think this could be a really good read for teen girls also setting out on their life outside of school. So there you have it, some books that I'm looking into for this category. Definitely let me know down below if you have any business recommendations, but these are the ones I'm mostly looking at. As I mentioned, more than likely, I'm going to end up reading Rebel Booksellers because that is just right in the wheelhouse for me. So thank you for watching. I will see you again soon with another video. Bye for now.